695. 695. And it is this tree right here, ladies and gentlemen, 695. This is Parrotia persica. And persica, Persia. Anybody know what country?
Egypt?
No.
Persia?
Persia is eastern Europe.
Persia. Anybody know the old name? The old name is Persia.
Palestine?
Iran, Iraq. So we've got a tree here that's growing, that grows in that part of the world. Why can we grow it here? What? Well, a microclimate to a degree, but this is a pretty hardy tree. I've got one at home. We've got them in the parking lot here now as well. Why can we grow this tree that comes from what we perceive as a very, very hot country? Exactly. Yeah. There are mountains in that part of the region, and they're quite cold. And so if we collect plants often from the higher elevations, it means we can hopefully grow them in our colder climates. That's why we have a lot of plants here from Southeast Asia and some from the Middle East. So often found up in the mountains. This is a member of the Hamamelidaceae family, the witch hazel family, which we grow a lot of here. And it's got several of those similar characteristics to the witch hazel family. And I'll take you by one of the witch hazels that's flowering on the far side of the college. It's actually flowering right now. And some of the other types of witch hazels are actually the first plants to flower in the spring, February. So when snow is still on the ground, these plants are flowering. So this is a relative to it, and there are a couple of characteristics that tie that plant together outside of the flowering characteristics, which is what was used for classification. One is the leaf, and if you look at the leaf, it's quite a distinct leaf with the venation and the shape. Also the autumn color. The autumn color is usually fairly pronounced, often from reds to yellows, and that goes right across the Hamamelidaceae clan of plants. And obviously the other characteristic is the flower. When this does flower, now it doesn't flower as profusely as some of the Hamamelis to which it's related, but when it does, and you can see the little seed capsules here from previous years, they're little almost spider-like flowers. They have long petals that almost look like spiders, and hopefully there will be some Hamamelis flowers on the other side. The other interesting character of this small tree, and that's what we're discussing today, is small trees, is the exfoliating bark. And that occurs, remember Cornus causa, Variety chinensis, Chinese causa dogwood? As it ages, it gets that interesting exfoliating bark. It's the same with this plant, right? As the tree ages, the bark begins to exfoliate, so you get this kind of interesting winter character. And to enhance it, you have to obviously prune the plant. So this is a fairly mature tree. This tree is probably about 25 years old, so quite mature for here. It was one we got from a gardener in the London area, quite a famous gardener called Sally Bryant, and she had a very small garden, was replanting it with something else, got tired of this tree, and we went and dug it up and brought it back here. It does have a problem. It's got a disease, a bit of wilt, and you can see some of the cracking here.
What is that coil at the bottom?
Well, that's where a lot of shoot growth has occurred. Often when plants have a... I'm going to stop that for a second. Cut the noise. Just give me a couple of minutes, Stacy. Yeah, just wait a couple of minutes. We're making a movie here. So you can see the cracking here. There's some dieback. It's some sort of wilt, and the question was about what are these lumps here at the base? That's epicorious growth. So when a plant has a disease, what it tries to do is it tries to compensate for the limbs that it's losing, so it sends out these shoots, and often these shoots are attached to the main trunk. So in that case, that's where most of the energy is stored. So if you look at the ash trees right now that are fighting the emerald ash borer, you'll see the big limbs are all dying, but they're sending out all these long straight shoots from the trunk, and that's kind of the last kick of the tree to survive, to kind of overcome that problem that it's experiencing. So that's why you see a lot of that type of growth on plants that are under stress, especially deciduous plants, because they can generate that extra tissue very, very quickly. Okay? Questions? No? Beautiful tree, one of my favorites, because I've got it in my own garden. Great autumn color, interesting blooms, great shape, you know, and a perfect tree for today's landscapes where the gardens are becoming much smaller. Again, so, you know, condominiums and townhouses and such. If you wanted to have one tree, this is a nice tree. Questions?
Growth-wise.
Growth-wise, it's kind of a medium grower. If we look at the growth rate here, you can see that this year it grew that much. So that's not a lot at all when we compare that to some of the other trees. That's what, 4 inches, 3.5, 4 inches. So 8, 9 centimeters. Dylan, your question? Exposure. So, you know, consider where it comes from in the mountains. So it's full sun, well-drained soils, right? So mountain landscapes often are very, very well-drained, almost lean type soils. Are you behaving back there? So we're collecting samples, Hillary's again? Okay, good.
Oh no, I'm collecting. Somebody else is carrying.
Someone else is carrying. Okay, give that to someone who's not standing around doing anything. Rob over here doesn't have
I can
anything.
take it. Oh, okay.
Study this.
I'm just holding this thing.